Today, we're going to be reviewing an album. That's right, I still do reviews. Reactions are fun though. They're just easy. And they get views, bro. There's like 3 positives, man. But I like reviewing records too, especially when it's like my friends. Park Zero, FKA The Ballads, is not one for making ballads, I'll tell you that much. That's right, Park Zero, noise ambient producer wizard, aka Samantha Wellbeloved. Any relation to Joe Wellbeloved? I went to school with a guy named Joe Wellbeloved. Can't lie, he was a little gross. But yeah, she's a British human being who makes music from time to time and releases it every now and again. Quite often, actually. Quite a prolific artist. Like every few months we're getting a new record from Park Zero. And I've heard quite a few Park Zero albums in my time. The Ides of a Sickening Youth, the one that dropped like earlier this year, Child to Soldier, Fine, Red Mist, or something like that. It was a pretty lengthy title. I might have got the order of the words wrong there, but that's how I remember it right now. We Are Not Temporary. There was the one that was like colon, semicolon, full stop or whatever. It's definitely worth mentioning that when it comes to the music of Park Zero, you're gonna get some harsh, noisy shit, man. Noisy stuff. Kind of akin to like an Aaron Dillaway, I would say. But I feel like she's definitely in her own sort of lane. Like her approach is for sure unique. And I will admit, you know, it's not the type of music that naturally like calls to me. You can access all of her music on Bandcamp. It's not available on like streaming. Bandcamp is where you'll have to go to listen to any of this material. And yeah, with this recent album is titled Something They Can Dance To. You can tell it's like, this is not the comfort zone of Samantha. Like making music for a club with breakbeats and stuff like that. Typically a Park Zero album does sound like rusty and mechanical. And those textures, sometimes they can be a bit grating to me. That has been a personal, you know, barrier when it comes to the enjoyment I get out of a Park Zero album. It's just like the textures and like the sound play. It's super grating, super harsh. And the albums can quite often be lengthy with tracks that can run on for up to like 10, 12 minutes. And for that to be the case, the composition, the song has to be like stirring something within me and moving me for me to, you know, for it to keep my attention, for me to be like, yeah, that was a dope song, I want to come back to it. It's not something that's naturally gonna like, you know, click with me. But luckily I do think as a songwriter, Samantha's definitely got something going on, you know. And this record is definitely, out of all the ones I've listened to, this is the one that has the most like instantaneously like hooked me or grabbed me, because this is a whole new approach right here. Park Zero is essentially taking the typical noisy, harsh, ambient sound that she's ran with for so long and sort of translating it to a more club-friendly, fast-paced, beat-driven world. Right away, the first track, check it out. It sounds like a pendulum song produced on a motorcycle engine. I like the horror movie-esque, like shrill shrieks that pop in. They just like hang in there for a while. There's like, makes the song feel like urgent and scary. It like grabs your attention right away before very nicely transitioning into Angel Sang. And yeah, I would say quite a few of these songs, there's only 6 songs on the album. It's pretty short. It's a pretty short album. You know, normally, again, like I said, Park Zero records are pretty lengthy. This one I think is just doing whatever it can to make the Park Zero sound as digestible as possible. And yeah, with the title being like, here's something they could dance to, there's like a bit of a uncertainty, like you know what I mean? Like it feels like this is her trying to adapt to like a new environment, basically. And I really respect the reinvention, because it's like it's a pretty large leap. Like if I was making like a DJ mix or something, I wouldn't, you know, mind incorporating tracks like the Dreaming for sure. That was my favorite on this project. The Dreaming, I felt like I could hear that like going off at like a crazy punky like club type setting. I could see that song going absolutely mad. I think the structure of this particular song worked well in its favor, the way it just continuously like escalated and was building into something more and more powerful. The final minute and a half where it really explodes in a really satisfying way. Back to Angel Sang though, that song I would say did introduce me to one of the issues I have with a few of the compositions with this album, and that is with the song structure. I think it did work in the case of the Dreaming, but on Angel Sang, I will say it doesn't really peak much beyond the first, like, I guess chorus, like the first like explosion. From that point onwards, I felt like I kind of knew what to expect from the track, which made it a little bit less of a thrilling experience to get through. I do wish these songs had a few more like dynamic shifts, just for my personal taste. But those explosive moments are very well produced. They are very shrill and distorted. There are some moments where I think the mix can get a little smothered by the distortion, like for example on the final track at the end. Like the drums on this song are like instantly like ferocious, but yeah, there's like these distorted drones that kind of close the track out that I feel like eat up the entire range, like all the frequencies. It feels like they're being covered by this distortion, and I feel like for me again, like that's an example of when Park Zero can get a little like grating with the production. Like the mixing choices every now and again did kind of steer in that direction. That was the most like potent example of that. But yeah, I do think overall this record does remain engaging for the most part. I feel like one thing this record does lack though is much of an arc. The sequencing didn't really tell much of a story. To me, I tried listening to these songs in like different orders, and I feel like I got the same kind of experience. And I feel like maybe Park Zero could take this like idea, this like approach, this vision with the breakbeats, these like heavily distortion smothered drum breaks with these like horror-esque like samples. I feel like it's a sick approach for Park Zero to take. I definitely would be interested to hear more music from Samantha in this style. The way it ran to me in my head as I was listening to it, it felt kind of more compilation-esque. Like if maybe there was a bit more of like a bob and weave, a nuance between the songs, I think I would have come away with a bit more of a lasting impression. I really felt with the track Side Eye as well. That's track number 3 on this album. I love how it started with that subtle, like, atmospheric, slow-paced beat. It was like deceptively kind of quiet. It sounded like something you would catch on like a PS1 game on the main menu theme, like Metal Gear Solid or some shit. It sounded tight, like reminded me of Rob Dugan, if you know who that is a little bit. I got a bit of a Rob Dugan kind of vibe. He did the music, he did some of the music for The Matrix. Like imagine the Matrix soundtrack, but like put through some PS1 polygon filter or something. And yeah, like it quite quickly erupted into the speedy, nightmarish barrage of piercing breakbeats that I thought was super exciting. Like the way the drums clatter against each other, I could barely make sense of it. The groove kept like shifting in my head, like I was hearing different things happening. It was really nicely detailed. Again, the structure was a bit predictable here, but still I did like how it went back and forth between those eerie quiet moments and those explosive moments. There's this like distorted synth nearer to the end of the song, maybe like around halfway, and it like pings off your ear in like this really satisfying way. Just some cool different sound play happening on this track, which was tight. Again, quite a short album. You know, the only track I haven't touched on would be the Siren. I heard this song. Samantha sent me this song a little while back, and my favorite part of this song is the main like loop. On the record, it fits right in with everything else. This one seems a bit more like eerie. I get the feeling like someone's watching me when I'm hearing this track. It feels like a little like uneasy. It's one of the more uneasy, unnerving tracks. It is noticeably emptier than the other songs. There's not a whole lot of like intrinsic detail going into the progressions and the drum work here. My favorite part of the song though is the main sort of loop, the main like synth like pad that loops throughout the song. Reminded me of Geogardy by Boards of Canada. Definitely a heavy Boards of Canada feel from this song. The drums I feel like were mixed in a little bit awkwardly on this song. They kind of feel disconnected a little bit from the main loop in my opinion. That could just be me, my ears, hearing it that way. Maybe you'll disagree with that if you hear the track. The drums have sort of a trip-hop-esque kind of tone to them. I do appreciate some of the genre blending and the way Samantha blurs it together a little bit on this song. So there's definitely some fresh ideas going on. The overall experience though, for me, was a positive one. It was very fun just sort of making sense of it in my head, like coming to these conclusions. Even though like I would say I have enjoyed some previous Samantha projects more, I feel like this one has had me sort of questioning the music and how it's making me feel. There was like, I kind of unpacked this one more naturally, you know what I mean? I would give this overall, my score for this record, if I were to rate it out of 10, oh man, I would say like, probably like a strong, confident like 6. I would say if I liked every song on this record as much as I like the Dreaming and Side Eye, or check it out as well, I'll probably bump this up to like a 7 or an 8. But because it is kind of short of breath, and I would say there's the remaining 3 songs, The End and The Siren, as well as Angel Sang, I feel like if those songs kind of gave me the same like emotional response, or an emotional response that was as strong and as positive as those other ones, I would be more inclined to give this like a higher rating. But overall, this was a good experience. I had a good time unpacking these songs, and I do appreciate the work that Samantha put in. Thank you for making music, doing what you do. I'm always going to be eager to hear what comes next. And yeah, go check out what Park Zero is doing. The Bandcamp, it will be in the description. You can hear this album, you can hear all of her other records. There's plenty to dive into, and I think a lot of it will scratch a nerve in your head that you can't quite get anywhere else. So big respect to Samantha for real. And yeah, there is my review for Something They Can Dance To. Have a wonderful day. Thank you so much for watching. I'll catch you on the next video. Love y'all. Bye-bye.